at him.
But he's got meat between his ears.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
All right, welcome to it. It's the Nation of Jake on The Voice.
Yes, have some.
FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on the YouTube channel. That channel, very easy to find. Nation of Jake, one word, Nation of Jake on YouTube. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel and also follow along on the old Facebook and the Twitter at Nation of Jake on this Wednesday, August 14th. Year of our Lord 2019, mostly sunny out. 90 degrees or thereabouts, high of 92 today. The key, though, is the feels like temperature, about 97. All right, so we're keeping it double digits. No heat advisory, no excessive heat warning, but it's still warm out there. Maybe the kids can go outside today for recess. Maybe wear out one of those new playgrounds in the area. All right, so today on the program, we got plenty to talk about. A lot of odds and ends. Kind of a slow news day in a way, but just like a bunch of little stories here and there. So we'll be peppering those in the program as we talk about a lot of the main things. We got more trouble at CNN, guys. More trouble. Yesterday, we outlined the whole hashtag Fredo debacle. Chris Cuomo lost his mind in a viral video after somebody called him Fredo. He equated Fredo from The Godfather, Fredo Corleone, to being called the N-word for Italians. And it was not pretty. Now, this guy was threatening to throw people downstairs, threatening to break people's legs. Kind of funny. Trying to dispel stereotypes about Italian Americans by threatening to break somebody's legs. Didn't really work out very well for Chris Cuomo. I don't blame him for getting mad, but the whole Fredo is the N-word or a racial slur, that was kind of goofy. Now, more trouble at CNN, a lawsuit against Don Lemon. There's a man who's accusing Don Lemon of sexual assault, and the details are disgusting. We'll get into those. I'll try to make it as least disgusting or as little disgusting. How do you even say that? I'll try to make it not so gross when we talk about it, but not a good week at CNN, and their ratings suck too. It's amazing they make money over there. All right, so we got also updates on Hong Kong. The protests in Hong Kong are still ongoing. I believe that flights are coming and going from Hong Kong's airport. The airport is reopened in Hong Kong. But again, I mean, powerful images from Hong Kong. This is a place that is operated autonomously from mainland China. But due to some laws they feel like could be abused by Beijing, they are protesting. Things are getting ugly and violent. And I don't like it for those people, but it's kind of cool to see these folks standing up for their freedoms, and they're flying the American flag. I think it's really important that we look at that. They're flying the American flag. They have signs saying they want the Second Amendment. They're also singing our national anthem. There's a reason for that. They're not flying the Canadian flag. They're not singing "Oh Canada" over there in Hong Kong when they're talking about their freedom. There's a reason that they're flying the American flag. We'll talk about that in the updates. The problem is Chinese military are not taking kindly to the Hong Kong protests, and we might be seeing tanks roll into Hong Kong. That's not what we want. We've also got some more information on Epstein. Yeah, the Jeffrey Epstein suicide, the Clinton body count, the conspiracies, the questions, what went down in that cell and why did it happen. Maybe we're getting closer to the truth as things trickle out day by day in the aftermath of the Epstein suicide. Plus, all the latest local news in the news crews. We'll talk about the power outages, storms last night here in Memphis knocking out power. What's MLGW going to do? How are they going to upgrade the infrastructure without raising rates? All those things. Some area schools had to close early because of power issues. You don't have power, you ain't got AC, you got a hot day, kids go home. And it causes all kinds of problems in the area. Right now, probably the biggest story of the day, the headline is this recession. Is a recession imminent? All right, people are talking about the 30-year bond yield hits record low, stoking fears of a recession. Now, there's a lot of people already hoping for a recession. In fact, on Twitter, if you go on Twitter, or if you go on CNN, you go on all these websites, you'll see something called hashtag Trump recession. There are people who want to see the economy tank. They're rooting for the failure of the U.S. economy because they hate Donald Trump so much. Bill Maher on HBO, he said it'd be worth it. He said it would be worth going into recession, suffering high unemployment, people losing their jobs, the stock market tanking, people losing their retirements, if it meant Donald Trump did not get a second term. That's what Bill Maher said, and I'll credit Bill Maher. He's not the only one who thinks that. He's the only one with the stones to say it. Because I'm telling you right now, there are a lot of people secretly hoping that there will be a recession out of spite for Donald Trump. That's the truth. That's it. Now, look, I don't have a good enough understanding of bonds and stocks and finances to explain exactly what's going on. What I can do is I can kind of piece together through logic and reason what's going on. And what I see is a whole lot of correlation and not a lot of causation, because I will maintain the stock market is a hoax. It's all based on feelings. It's not based on anything other than outlook and how people feel about the markets. Now, this is from CNBC, the old financial folks, the financial arm, CNBC. Main yield curve inverts as 2-year yield tops 10-year rate, triggering recession warning. That's a bag of words if I ever heard one. Seriously, what does that even... If somebody came up to you and said, hey, man, you hear the main yield inverts as 2-year yields top 10-year rate? You're like, wait, what was that? Bag of words. Means nothing to the regular person. So we'll try to get through this as best we can. The yield on the benchmark 10-year Treasury note was at 1.623%, below the 2-year yield at 1.634%. I guess that means it's inverted. The 2-year yield is higher than the 10-year Treasury note yield. Okay. The last inversion of this part of the yield curve was December 2005, 2 years before a recession brought on by the financial crisis hit. All right. Was that an indicator or was that a coincidence? I have no idea, because I'm thinking that the recession in 2007, 2008 was due to that financial crisis. Or was the bond yield the predictor? A recession occurs on average 22 months following such an inversion. All right, so when you see this bond yield curve inversion, you have 22 months on average until there's a recession. Okay, so we got 22 months. Where does that put us? Because that's where people are looking at. They're saying Donald Trump touts the economy. That's his biggest and best accomplishment. That's the scoreboard that I talk about. You know, instead of Donald Trump wading into all these other facets, he can just go, hey, scoreboard, and boom. He could have just left things alone. Just 2 weeks ago, stock market, maybe less than 2 weeks ago, stock market was like 27,000 plus record, right? And then they cut interest rates, and you're thinking, oh yeah, it's going to skyrocket. We're going to hit 28, right? And then all of a sudden, right after they cut interest rates, does the Fed, a quarter point or whatever, Donald Trump comes out and says, oh, we're going to do more tariffs on China. And then the stock market goes down. And then there's all this talk. Where was this whole deal? Here's what I think about the whole stock market. All right. You can have your yield curves. You can have your inversions. You can have your outlooks. You can have your 10-year versus 2-year Treasury notes and the bond yields and the 1.623s versus the old 1.634s. I don't know what any of that means. Here's what I know. When somebody sees something, they see some kind of correlation, it may or may not mean anything. It's like when you watch sports. All right, I'll give you a sports analogy if I may. You know, I worked in baseball for a long time, and man, they love to break down stats and splits. oh, how does left-hander Jarrett Wright pitch at home during day games against opponents from the NL West? Oh, well, he's 4-0 with a 1.62 ERA. Wow. That means the next game at Turner Field against the Diamondbacks, and I'm speaking in terms that I actually experienced, we need to have Jarrett Wright on the mound because he's going to perform well. So wait a second. What about playing in day games in your home stadium against opponents from the NL West has anything to do with how this guy pitches? It's a correlation. There's no one factor. I mean, it's just kind of like a coincidence? Or is there something about those teams? Are those teams bad? Does he pitch better in the pitcher's park? Or what? I mean, what are the factors? What are they? Another one. I remember back in the day, you may remember this too. Early 90s, Penny Hardaway playing for the Memphis State Tigers at the time. My younger brother, Jesse, he would always come up with these goofy lines that he would repeat because the guys on TV would spout him out. Oh, did you know whenever Billy Smith scores 30 points, the Tigers win? And I was like, yeah, because if Billy Smith scores 30 points, that means Penny Hardaway probably scored 50 because Billy Smith is not the guy getting the ball as the number one option. So yes, if Billy Smith, who was a good player, not a great player, but a good player, if your second or third best player on the team scores 30, then yeah, you're probably going to win. So I'm not sure if it has anything to do with Billy Smith scoring 30 or that is a symptom, that is a happy consequence of, say, the Tigers having a great game, right? It's kind of backwards, I guess. I do know this, though. I do know about the whole self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, when you have somebody reporting that a recession is imminent and you've got a stock market that is based largely on people's outlook, and these people who are the outlookers are reading the same thing we are, they may act in such a way to cause the recession. The self-fulfilling prophecy. More simply put, if you prophesize that there's going to be a stock market crash, everyone reacts, they pull all their money out of the stock market, and it crashes. You yourself will cause it. And honestly, with something as volatile as the stock market, which all depends on how the investor class feels, when they read stuff like this, they're given warnings by all these so-called experts about an impending recession, they may prepare and act like there's a recession, thus causing the recession. And then it'll get reported on again as Trump's recession and the failure of Donald Trump. And there are people are rooting for this to happen because we're also in an election cycle. We've also got this trade war stuff going on with China, which we haven't really seen in a long time. So there's a lot of unusual things going on. I'm not sure we can look at the main yield curve inverts as 2-year yield tops 10-year rate, triggering the recession warning as the canary in the coal mine. There's too many other factors. There's too much other stuff going on. I think right now, though, is an opportunity. An opportunity for President Trump to get together with the president of China and work something out on two fronts. Not only this trade war thing, because we're hurting from the trade war. Donald Trump won't admit that. But yes, it is a tax increase on American consumers. China's hurting worse. All right, you can look at China's numbers. You can say, oh, wow, they're having like 6% growth. Well, they have more room to grow. But it's slowed down. And President Xi Jinping, he does not like this at all. But he's also got this other thing going on in Hong Kong, right? If Trump and President Xi, if they can get together and work both of them out and both come out looking good for both those economies in advance of the 2020 election, say goodnight. I mean, you've told the tale. Honestly, though, I mean, the way it times out, if they're talking about this being a predictor for a recession, what are we, 18 months out from the election? I mean, I don't know. Let's see. That would put us, 22 months from now puts us into 2021, almost. I mean, it's close. It's close. Well, we'll see. But again, I just don't like the whole self-fulfilling prophecy. And I really don't like people rooting against the American economy because that affects people. That affects Main Street. That affects people's jobs and their earnings and their lives. So, yeah, it's a real ugly thing to do, to go and root for America's economy to fail because you don't like the president. I mean, why don't you just go out and buy stocks? Stock market's down. The Dow Jones down 600 points. Listen to Dave Ramsey right here on KWAM The Voice. He says, hey, the stocks are on sale. Go out and get you some at a good price because then when it goes back up, you'll be able to cash in. You'll win. There you go. There's my financial take on the old hashtag recession or hashtag Trump recession if you want it to be. You can do that. But let's get into the Hong Kong stuff. There's some updates on the Hong Kong protests. We'll get into that next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
When's the last time you looked at the windows in your house? Not through the windows, but at the windows. Really looked at them. There's dirt, streaks, buildup, smudges, fingerprints, paw prints, spider webs, dead bugs. There's little white speckles. I have no idea what they are, and who knows what else. Now, cleaning all the windows in your house makes a big difference, but it's also a big job. That's why you need Just Windows Home Services. Just Windows has been taking the pain out of window cleaning since 1992. Just Windows cleans all types of windows, storm windows, screens, skylights, interior, exterior, upstairs and down. Now, I know I told you the company is called Just Windows Home Services, but they do a lot more. Roof and gutter cleaning, pressure washing, mirrors, blinds, ceiling fans, light fixtures, chandeliers. Look, if you've got hard to reach areas of the house, then you need Just Windows Home Services. Call for a free estimate, 751-3934. That's 751-3934, or get them online at justwindowsmemphis.com. That's justwindowsmemphis.com.
The special event florist for the Mid-South is Lynn Doyle Flowers. They are famous for creating incredible floor arrangements and are available to fill even your last-minute needs. From the simple to the magnificent, their staff can create unique arrangements for your special occasion. Flowers always bring a smile, make someone's day, and for fast, convenient delivery, call Lynn Doyle Flowers today at 901-323-4521 or visit their beautiful new location at 6225 Old Poplar Pike.
Triumph Bank strives to make banking easy for our customers. You have a lot of choices when it comes to banks, so we invite you to visit one of our local offices in Memphis, Germantown, Collierville, and Arlington to see for yourself how our team, backed by our state-of-the-art online and mobile services, can simplify banking for you and your business. Triumph Bank, invested in our communities and making banking easy for you. Triumph is a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender. TriumphBank.com. Let's talk growth.
You and your friends and associates are invited to attend the Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair, Thursday, September 19th from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Brown Missionary Baptist Church, located at 7200 Swinia Road in South Haven, Mississippi. There will be health exams, flu shots, entertainment, and this year, there'll be food trucks on site to allow you to enjoy lunch while you're there, and a demonstration on healthy living by the Silver Sneakers. The Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair is promoted by the DeSoto Times and the Best Times. Mark your calendar for September 19th. You'll be glad you did.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. Online, KWAMTheVoice.com. If you spend time online, if not, listen on the radio. If you're on your phone and you got that YouTube app, very simple to find me with the video stream on the YouTube channel, Nation of Jake, there on YouTube. All right, it's one word, Nation of Jake. Run that all together. So, I was thinking a lot about this Hong Kong stuff. I was talking to my dad about it. I was talking to my buddy Hans about the Hong Kong stuff. And you know what? I mean, those guys in Hong Kong, think about this. We've gone over it a couple of days, and I don't think enough people are paying attention to what's going on, like exactly what's at stake here. Folks in Hong Kong lived under British rule for 156 years. The Brits had a 99-year lease on Hong Kong, and it was given back to China in 1997. All right, I was a senior in high school. All right, so the folks in Hong Kong, they enjoyed a high degree of autonomy. They had, they had democracy, and it ran just fine. It was great. Now, when they gave it back, there was a big old ceremony, and you had a lot of people saying, oh, they'll no longer be under British rule. And so that was seemingly a good thing. But then fast forward to 2019, you've got people in Hong Kong who would love to go back under British rule. And they're like, yeah, British rules. Let's go. Please. Because I guess the deal that was cut was something like, all right, we'll give you back Hong Kong. And then, some entity in Hong Kong was like, yeah, but for 50 years, you got to leave us alone. Which, honestly, that's a scary thought. I mean, if you think about it, let's say you're a 30-year-old guy in 1997. And you're saying, okay, yeah, 50 years, I'll be an old man before China and Beijing, they come in and a lot can happen in 50 years. What about your kids? Yeah, 50 years. Holy crap. It's nothing, man. 50 years. I'm 40 years old. I'm closer to 50 than I am to 25. I mean, I don't feel old, but I'll be 50 before I know it. And my kid will be what? 18 years old, 17, 18? She'll just be getting her life started. Right? So I'm like, am I going to make a deal that says, yeah, we get 50 years of autonomy before we have to subject ourselves to the laws of Beijing? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to maximize that 50 years, right? However, some Hong Kongers, I guess they didn't think this through. They passed this law in Hong Kong to allow mainland China and Beijing to come in and extradite people, criminals, so that Hong Kong wouldn't become some sort of safe haven for murderers and rapists and stuff. But because that government in China is so corrupt and capricious, as the Department of Justice would call it, it's run by, like they call him a president, President Xi Jinping. This guy, he's a dictator. I mean, he's not really a president. He's not like, he's not, there's not a lot of checks and balances. I mean, they do what he wants over there. So he can come in and kind of extradite people he wants to extradite. With the power of extradition, you've got some people who are clamoring for democracy for China via Hong Kong, extradited. We're going to pluck you out of here. You're a troublemaker. They're going to flex their long arm of the law and start abusing that power. So people in Hong Kong are fed up just at the idea of Beijing having that much power. These are smart people. Seriously, these are smart people. These are the revolutionaries of the time. I mean, when you talk about, people who value their freedom, we're talking about people in Hong Kong who are used to being free, and next door, this government, this communist government in China, who will eventually, take power and could. I mean, they could roll tanks into Hong Kong, and those people who are protesting, I mean, they're putting it all on the line. China could go in and crush them, because that's what they do. They could roll tanks in there. You got another massacre, like in Tiananmen Square in 1989, which is scary thought, man. And right now, it's reported that satellite images this week captured more than 500 Chinese military vehicles in and around a soccer stadium near the border with Hong Kong, in what many believe was a response to several days of violent protests that disrupted operations at one of the world's busiest international airports. The images, taken by Maxar's Worldview Monday, appear to show hundreds of military vehicles lined up at the Shenzhen Bay Sports Center just across the harbor from Hong Kong, where months of protesting reached a pinnacle last week after thousands of demonstrators shut down all flights at Hong Kong International. Chinese state media disputed the claims, of course they did, that the government moved the vehicles in response to the protests, saying that the exercises had been planned beforehand and they're not directly related to the unrest in Hong Kong. Sure. The denial came despite Beijing saying the protests were beginning to show the sprouts of terrorism. And that's just it. You give that tag to things, then the government can intervene. That's why you got to be real cautious about what you call terrorism. But in China, they'll just call whatever. And that's just it. Oh, look, we thought there could be terrorists there. So that's why we've got military vehicles poised and ready to pounce on a bunch of Hong Kongers who just don't want mainland China to get involved with their freedoms. So, and it's really eye-opening. I mean, when I look over there and I see images of people in Hong Kong, protesters, waving the American flag, singing the national anthem, begging for their own Second Amendment. And that really outlines how important our rights are. And I had a conversation today, and I want to expand on this a little bit later. A buddy of mine, he's an emotional guy. He basically just goes on Facebook or Twitter or whatever it is, and he just kind of unloads his emotions. And I get it. We've had, the past 2 weeks talking about the mass shootings and whatnot, and there's a lot of talk about rolling back gun rights, exercising more gun control, talking about expanded background checks, which, by the way, would not have prevented either of the mass shootings that we saw last weekend. Now there's talk of a ban on semi-automatic firearms and large-capacity magazines. 200 House Democrats have signed on to that bill, banning semi-automatic firearms. Now, that doesn't mean assault weapons. When they talk about assault weapons, they mean scary-looking weapons like the AR-15. AR-15 looks like something you would see on Call of Duty. So they're like, oh my God, it's an assault weapon. It's a semi-automatic rifle. Just like a Ruger Mini 14 is a semi-automatic rifle, but that one has a wooden stock, looks like a hunting rifle. Therefore, it's okay. What you have is a lot of legislation on guns written by people who don't know much about guns, and I am no gun expert. I've never claimed to be a gun expert, but I do claim to be well-versed, say, in the Constitution. All right, so my buddy was talking about how, people stateside, people here, want to justify having AR-15s, Ruger Mini 14s, or just having firearms. And what they want to do is they want to justify it just based on the fact that it's in the Constitution. That's my constitutional right, therefore I want it. And there shouldn't be any kind of restrictions on it because it's my constitutional right. Well, he also claims that, these people who claim it's in the Constitution, there's other amendments to the Constitution that they don't like, and that it's somehow a contradiction. Like you have to value all the amendments and all our rights the same way. Well, there's a problem with that line of thinking. And keeping all this kind of just in the framework of what's going on in Hong Kong, we have a Bill of Rights. Our Bill of Rights are the first 10 amendments, different than the rest, because the way they're written is very specific. You got your First Amendment, freedom of speech. Second Amendment, your right to bear arms, and so on. They were written, I believe, in order of importance. All right, I believe that free exercise of religion and freedom of speech and freedom of the press, that's the most important right we have, is that the government cannot take action against us for expressing our religious beliefs or our opinions, and can't limit the press and what they write. Government can't lock you up for that kind of stuff. Second Amendment, second most important one, is that we have the right to defend ourselves. And if you look at the way they're written, those amendments, the first 10, it's usually some variation of Congress shall make no law. It's called a negative right. They don't give us the rights. We have the rights, and they cannot abridge them or infringe on them. As in the Second Amendment, shall not be infringed, the phrase. And it's funny to me that somebody would equate those two. Let's just take those two. Let's just take the first one. First Amendment is a lot less controversial than the second. Would you equate the First Amendment with the 16th? Would you? Because the 16th Amendment is the amendment that gave Congress the power to tax your income. I can be pro First Amendment and anti-16th Amendment because the Bill of Rights are the rights that we have, inalienable rights that the government cannot infringe upon. The rest of those amendments is just how the government works. So like direct election of senators is not a constitutional right. It's an amendment to the Constitution. It's not in the Bill of Rights. There's a lot of stuff. Direct election of senators being the 17th Amendment. That income tax, are you going to sit there and tell me that just because I'm a Second Amendment supporter that I have to accept the 16th Amendment? The 16th Amendment is some sort of right? No, 16th Amendment is not a constitutional right. That says that Congress can take the income from me. So there's a lot of these things. The 27th Amendment in 1992, that was passed. It's the last one, was that those in Congress can't vote themselves a pay raise within the term, like within the same term. Like they have to wait to get reelected to take advantage of any congressional pay raise. Are you telling me that that's a constitutional right? No, it's not. It's different. It's an amendment to the Constitution. It's not in the Bill of Rights. So I know people get all wrapped up and they get real emotional about it. So sometimes you got to kind of step outside of yourself and look, say, to a place like Hong Kong. Look at people whose rights are really under attack and then apply that here. Say, okay, these people in Hong Kong who have lived a certain way all their lives, they know nothing else. All they know is that this overlord China, Beijing, let's say the mainland China, that these guys at any time can come and just change the way that you live and chip away at your freedoms. They're like, no, hell no. That's not happening. We will protest. We will fight the cops. Before we let that happen, we will fly the American flag, not the Canadian flag. We'll sing the national anthem, not "O Canada." We will do these things, and it should show you, and it should remind you how precious our freedoms are. Because here we are, stateside, getting real fat and happy and comfortable, and because we don't like what we read online and these stories of psychopaths going out and abusing their freedoms, it scares you that you will beg for your right to be taken away. We're over here like idiots begging for our rights to be taken away, where people over in Hong Kong are fighting the cops to make sure theirs don't. Think about that for a second. Just think about that. And I'm mainly talking to my buddy who was online crying today about how, oh yeah, you love the Second Amendment, but you don't like the 13th. I'm like, what are you talking about? There's nobody who's pro-slavery in this country. What are you talking about? It's a logical fallacy. He was building a composite of some evil, horrible person and applying that to the whole, and you can't do that. So, yeah, I'm just kind of responding to a guy on Facebook who he's one of my best buddies. He's misguided, and I love him to death, but good Lord, he needs to listen to this program. I hope he is. All right, coming up in a minute, bad week at CNN. Bad week at CNN. We had Chris Cuomo, the Cuomo-sexual. Somebody called him Fredo. He did not like it, and he threatened to hurt the guy. And now we've got Don Lemon. He's being sued for sexually abusing a man. Oh, the details are disgusting, but they're worth hearing. I think we need to go through this. We'll do it next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
CBS News Update. Another big down day on Wall Street with the Dow down 700 points right now. Economist Eugene Peroni says this follows an inverted bond yield curve. Investors switching over to short-term bonds where the interest rates are actually better than over the long term due to concerns for the economy.
With the concerns about the possibility of an economic slowing or recession, that certainly brings about quite a bit of uncertainty, especially now that we're through the second quarter earnings season. There's a lot of focus and attention as to how the third quarter earnings season will fare and whether or not there will be some indicators there as to what the likelihood is of a recession down the line.
Investors looking for a resolution to this trade standoff with China.
The problem is that the longer this goes, the more of an impact there will be on consumer psychology, and so that could play a pretty big role in terms of whether or not we do have a significant slowing and just how long that slowing might continue.
CBS News Update. I'm Jim Michelle.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Dan Groban and Phil Menard at Servant Advisors Group call this mailbox money. It's the monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They want to help remove stress from your retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Servant Advisors Group at 855-260-1000 for a complimentary retirement analysis with strategies that could help your nest egg provide you monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call right now, 855-260-1000. Servant Wealth Management is a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Servant Advisors Group, LLC. Insurance licensed in Tennessee, Mississippi, and in Arkansas.
This is Andy Wise, your consumer investigator, and I belong to the Crescent Club. All my wise choices gather at the Crescent Club for mixers and private dining. The gourmet menu, top shelf. And happy hour? Hey, if you've never had a cocktail 9 stories high on the patio soaking in the East Memphis skyline, then hear this. I won't entertain my clients anywhere else because I made the wise choice. I belong to the Crescent Club, 6075 Poplar Avenue on top of the Crescent Center.
This is Clark Howard. The other day there was an airfare sale that had Paris at $262 round trip and had Amsterdam at $248 round trip. Both deals from New York. And this is a clear pattern over and over again. You're going to find when you want to fly internationally over the Atlantic Ocean, by far the best deals are going to be from New York. When you want to go across the Pacific Ocean, anywhere in Asia or the South Pacific, same rule applies from Los Angeles. And this is something I've said for years, but now I can prove that it's true because of research done by Scotch Cheap Flights that found that New York and Los Angeles are by far the cheapest places to fly international from. So what does that do for you if you don't live anywhere near either? Well, you can buy a cheap domestic ticket to get to one of them and then go over the water from New York or L.A.
Have you heard what President Trump said recently?
Newsmax, you like Newsmax. I like it too.
Now you can watch Newsmax TV and get the truth about Trump from Bill O'Reilly, Mike Reagan, Alan Dershowitz, Pat Buchanan, and more. Newsmax TV is America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in 70 million homes. Find Newsmax on DirecTV, Dish, Xfinity, Spectrum, Optimum, Fios, Uverse, and more systems. See Newsmax TV today. It's real news for real people.
I'm pretty handy around the house, but now that I have kids, I don't want to spend my Saturday installing a toilet or fixing an air conditioner. But thankfully, there's HomeAdvisor. HomeAdvisor helps me find the best home pros in my area to handle any kind of project. You can read reviews of the pros, check their availability, and even book appointments online. And what my wife loves most is that HomeAdvisor is completely free to use.
Go to HomeAdvisor.com or download the free app to get started.
HomeAdvisor.
Welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
Yeah. It's the Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. We're online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Go to the website, listen online. Also, watch the show on the YouTube. I have to caution you, it's not that exciting. You're not going to catch me, picking my nose on YouTube during the commercials or anything like that. It's just basically me and a microphone. No turntables. And a microphone here in the Nation of Jake, the YouTube channel Nation of Jake. Go subscribe to it. So it's not been the best week for CNN. I mean, not only do they have low ratings and they're highly partisan, as is Fox News, but Fox News hasn't had all these people getting in trouble. There were some bad weeks for Fox News, like when Bill O'Reilly got in all that trouble and all those allegations of the sexual misconduct, sexual harassment, as some say. But this has been very colorful over at CNN. Chris Cuomo, primetime anchor Chris Cuomo, where did he start? Like, when did he come on the scene? Like, I don't remember Chris Cuomo from back in the day with Wolf Blitzer and those guys. Wolf's still there. I don't recall when Chris Cuomo came on the scene. Is it because his brother is the governor? Is that how he got his gig? Or did he start at some local channel in New York and then moved his way up to CNN? Well, he wasn't there back in the day of Ted Turner, I know that. So I don't know exactly what led to the rise of Chris Cuomo. But we found out that Chris Cuomo does not like being called Fredo.
I thought that's who you were.
No, punk bitches from the right call me Fredo. My name is Chris Cuomo. I'm an anchor on CNN.
You're much...
Fredo is from The Godfather. He was that weak brother.
Isn't that your
And
brother?
they use it as an Italian aspersion. Any of you Italian? Are you Italian? It's an insult to your people. It's an insult to your fucking people. It's like the N-word for us.
Insult you?
You call me Fredo. It's like I call you punk bitch. You like that? You want that to be your nickname?
I didn't call you that.
You called me Fredo. You know my name's not Fredo.
I thought your name was.
You call me Fredo.
Fredo. Don't be a liar.
Don't be a liar.
throw you down these stairs like a punk.
Don't call me a liar. You're a liar. You call me Fredo. Don't call me Fredo. Don't be a liar. Hey, could you imagine like Socrates back in the day if somebody called him Plato? You call me Plato? You call me Plato? I'm Socrates, yeah. Yeah, I'm Socrates. You know I'm not Plato. Don't call me Plato. No, don't call me Plato. That's like the N-word for Greeks. Yeah. Don't call me Plato. Call me Plato. Ah! So that was an ugly scene. Chris Cuomo, he actually said that he should be better than that. And there's a lot of people who were defending Chris Cuomo. I mean, I can defend the fact that Chris Cuomo stood up for himself. He was being harassed in public. But what I can't defend is him equating being called Fredo from The Godfather, to being called the N-word. That's insulting. But he'll get a pass. But don't call me Fredo. Don't do it. Don't call me Fredo. Now, we've also got some more trouble over at CNN. Don Lemon. Oh, Don Lemon, another primetime anchor. They're not anchors. They're not. Anchor is like Cronkite, you know? Anchor is like Ted Koppel. But these guys are pretty much commentators. They're opinion guys. They're partisans. Don Lemon is being sued for an alleged assault at a Sag Harbor bar. All right. The story is a man is suing Don Lemon, claiming the CNN host attacked him at a Hamptons bar last summer. The suit, obtained by Mediaite, was filed Sunday and seeks unspecified damages for emotional pain and suffering. Oh my God, what'd you do, Don Lemon? Dustin Heiss. Is that the planet? Is that him? Is that what you call him in the People's Court? Dustin Heiss claims that Lemon attacked him at Sag Harbor dive bar Murph's in July of 2018. Heiss was working as a bartender at another Hamptons watering hole. Said he approached Lemon at the bar one night after recognizing him. Heiss tried to get Mr. Lemon's attention and offered to buy Mr. Lemon a drink. The CNN host declined, stating he was just trying to have a good time. And I could see that. Now, even if you're not a fan of Don Lemon, how often do you see a celebrity, guy on CNN? You see him everywhere. It's like, maybe I'll buy Don Lemon a drink and then I'll get a photo with Don Lemon. I'll get a selfie or something like that. And Don Lemon's like, no, look, man, I'm with my people. I'm trying to have a good time. Later in the night, however, the suit says Lemon approached Dustin Heiss. Mr. Lemon, who was wearing a pair of shorts, sandals, and a t-shirt, then put his hand down the front of his own shorts and vigorously rubbed his nether regions, removed his hand, and shoved his index and middle fingers in the plaintiff's mustache and under the plaintiff's nose. Ew! Heiss said Lemon repeatedly shoved his fingers in his face and then started asking him his sexual orientation. Heiss claims he left the bar shocked and humiliated. Yeah, gross, Don Lemon. If true, that's disgusting. That's disgusting. I mean, you're out at a bar, you're wearing shorts and sandals, it's probably a little bit hot out. You stick your hand on your pants and rub it in a guy's mustache? That is foul. Told you it was gross. And that's the sanitized version. I didn't tell you the exact words that Don Lemon said allegedly to Mr. Heiss. As for CNN's claim that Heiss's social media accounts displayed contempt for the network, a Twitter account under the name Dustin Heiss has been deleted. Oh, that's right. So CNN is claiming, look, this guy had it out for CNN. He's critical of CNN. He displayed a pattern of contempt for CNN on his social media accounts. And this claim follows his unsuccessful threats and demands for an exorbitant amount of money from Don Lemon. Don categorically denies these claims, and this matter does not merit any further comment at this time. So they're saying this guy's full of it. Don Lemon would never wipe his nether region-y hands on a man's mustache. That said, though, I've seen Don Lemon get drunk on TV and kind of get out of control. That could be a problem for CNN, because every year on New Year's Eve, they let all their anchors go out and get hammered and hang out with Kathy Griffin or somebody else, that Andy Cohen guy or whatever his name is from E! Network. These people get fallen down drunk and do a lot of inappropriate things on TV. So I guess an attorney for Dustin Heiss could say, hey, look, here's video of Don Lemon getting out of control on TV. This guy's got a problem. He drinks and he does things that are lewd. Yeah. Hanging out with Kathy Griffin, getting drunk on air. Maybe that fits a pattern of behavior. I never, ever want to hear another thing about this story. That's disgusting. I cannot believe you, Don Lemon. And by the way, if you are dyslexic, his name can jump out at you as Nod Melon. Don Lemon, Nod Melon. It's very simple to do. I called him Don Lemon and Don Melon the other day, just interchangeably. And I might have some undiagnosed dyslexia. I don't know. Tom Cruise had it. Don't judge me. All right, coming up. Oh, check this out. A microchip in the brain of morbidly obese people that zaps them when they think about food. It's a thing. That's the thing at Stanford. Really smart people are doing this. I think it's the dumbest idea ever, and I'll tell you why next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
If you're a baby boomer here in the Mid-South area, this message is for you. We've designed a brand new radio show with you in mind. It's The Retirement Income Doctor, hosted by Dave McAdams of the McAdams Group. Each week, Dave will teach you retirement strategies that have worked year after year, decade after decade, in any kind of market. That's right, the Retirement Income Doctor will teach you these strategies. So join us Saturday mornings at 10 for the Retirement Income Doctor.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, stop. Don't do anything until you talk to my man, James Underwood. James Underwood has been helping people like you navigate the Mid-South real estate market for more than a decade. So whether you're looking to buy your first home or you want to upgrade to your forever home, James Underwood can help make it happen. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just a rock-solid guy that I've known for 25 years. So now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up James Underwood with CryLike. JamesUnderwood.crylike.com. That's JamesUnderwood.crylike.com.
Your dog is a furry member of your family, and they deserve the highest level of care. Dogtopia has award-winning daycare, boarding, and spa services. They are the safest, cleanest, and most transparent dog daycare and boarding option for you. The best part? You can check in with your dog anytime on the video stream on your phone. Dogtopia, located at Carriage Crossing. Find out more at dogtopia.com to schedule your dog's best day ever.
Hey, are you pregnant and need health insurance?
Yes, I'm really in need of insurance.
Have you heard of the TennCare Presumptive Prenatal Program?
No, what is that?
It's a program where pregnant women can get 62 days of temporary Medicaid insurance coverage.
Wow, I didn't know about that. Thanks.
For more information regarding the TennCare Presumptive Prenatal Program, contact the Shelby County Health Department at 901-545-8722 or log on to shelbytnhealth.com. Funding for this was provided by the Tennessee Department of Health.
All right.
Yes, have some.
Here we are. Here you are. We're all here, the Nation of Jake, on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. In a little bit, Beto O'Rourke is planning a reset on his presidential campaign. I think he's reset more than once, but the guy is reeling. But we've got some challengers to Biden's frontrunner status. We'll talk a little bit about 2020 Democrats in the 2020 presidential election here in a little bit. Also, an update on the Epstein suicide. Jeffrey Epstein, the billionaire financier, alleged sex trafficker, and possible pedophile. We'll talk about him. New details after he was found dead on Saturday. This story got my attention. This is some researchers at Stanford. So, Stanford University scientists want to find out if they can control people's eating by implanting a chip in the heads of the morbidly obese that'll zap their brains when they think about food. That's right. A clinical trial will aim to identify the pattern of brain activity that signals the start of a food binge. 6 morbidly obese people have agreed to take part in a clinical trial of a brain chip that zaps them when they think about food. The chip, known as a responsive neurostimulation system, or RNS, was originally developed by medical technology company NeuroPace to treat people with epilepsy. Once implanted in the brain, the chip records brain activity continuously and delivers a mild electric shock whenever it detects a specific pattern of activity that signals the onset of a seizure. This shock is designed to stop the seizure before it starts. A recent research study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences demonstrated that the same technique could be used to suppress binge eating behavior in mice. Interesting. You had to go and identify mice who would binge. How do you even do that? Scientists at Stanford, they're saying, hey, if we do this in mice, we can do it in humans. All we need is, 5 or 6 giant fat people to agree to have a chip implanted in your brain. Good Lord. The clinical trial will take place over 5 years. We'll see 6 participants have the RNS chip implanted in their brains for at least 18 months at a time. The chip will monitor brain activity for 6 months before turning on a stimulation in an attempt to identify the pattern of activity that signals the start of a food binge. So I guess you have to have a control. You have to find out, what synapses fire off and what kind of receptors take in the dopamine and the serotonin. I'm just throwing out at you brain terms that I know. Medulla oblongata, right? So, I don't like this at all. I think having your brain zapped when you think about food is generally a bad idea. This is like biohacking. People want to implant like cell phones in their arms and stuff, or in their feet. I guess flexible people, what do they call those, contortionists? Maybe they want their cell phone in their feet. That said, what if they're thinking about a salad? What if they're thinking about binging on some kale? They're trying to make better decisions, and they get zapped anyway. It's like, good. Reminder, don't eat that. Good Lord. So much can go wrong when you're talking about implanting things in your brain. Not only that, infection. What if somebody has the urge to eat so badly that they can't stop thinking about it? That the zapping makes them think about it more. Like the constant just, but I'm so hungry. And then you got like, I don't know, what if there's a malfunction? What if something happens and then the zapping won't go off? It won't stop. And you're just being zapped continuously and you get used to it. Or what if you get zapped and you can move things with your mind like Scott Baio in the film Zapped with Scott Baio and Willie Ames? And also, can you think of something Scott Baio was in that didn't have Willie Ames in it? That's the real question. And I think that would be well served to have these scientists at Stanford find out why Scott Baio and Willie Ames were so inseparable in the 80s. Willie Ames was in Charles in Charge, right? Willie Ames, Scott Baio, zapped. Willie Ames, Scott Baio. And then Scott Baio did nothing else. Of course, he was in Happy Days. But then Willie Ames became Bible Man. Maybe I need to have my brain zapped whenever I go on stupid tangents about 80s pop culture stuff that nobody cares about. That'd be fun. That'd be a fun radio show. Listen to Jake get zapped with Scott Baio and Willie Ames. All right, coming up, Beto's Big Reset and the 2020 election.
The Mid-South station with the most local talk and CBS News at the top of every hour. KWAM, Memphis.
This is CBS News on the Hour. Real news, real reporting.
I'm Jim Sheneby. Another rough ride for that 401k today as the stock markets have hit the skids again over fears of a recession.
The markets believe that the risk of recession has just gone higher.
That's Michael Farr of Farr Miller in Washington. He says it's a reaction to the bond market, which is now offering lower interest rates over the long term due to recession fears.
It's called an inverted yield curve, and it's typically one of the warning signs for a recession, which is a broad economic slowdown, and markets don't like that. Corporations don't like those broad economic slowdowns, and stocks are heading lower because investors are voting with their wallets.
The latest on the probe into Jeffrey Epstein's jailhouse death in New York City includes revelations that 2 guards who were supposed to be watching the accused sex offender were not.
CBS News has learned that unreleased video allegedly shows some of the guards here at the Metropolitan Correctional Center did not make some of the checks on Jeffrey Epstein that not only were they supposed to make, but that they had logged and documented before his death. Now, the FBI is starting to ask some of the prison staff exactly how this could have happened. This as multiple investigations, federal probes intensify, and we've also learned that at least 2 of the prison correctional officers here have lawyered up.
That's Mola Lenghi. After 2 days of escalating pro-democracy demonstrations in Hong Kong, today the airport is back open, and some of the protesters have actually offered apologies. CBS's Deborah Patta.
Things have returned to normal here at the airport, but Beijing has weighed in on the chaos we saw last night, calling the protests an act of terrorism. And in newly released satellite photos, we see Chinese military vehicles being moved into a sports stadium, apparently along the Chinese border.
More cases of serious lung injuries have surfaced linked to vaping by young people. Minnesota becomes the 3rd state to report that has a problem. CBS's Anna Werner.
The symptoms that have been seen here include things like shortness of breath, fever, coughing, chest pain, possibly headache, vomiting, and diarrhea. And it's very important that teens tell the doctors, or parents, let the teens know they need to tell the doctor if they've been vaping.
Ford extending warranties on more than 500,000 small cars due to continued problems with the transmissions. WWJ's Jeff Gilbert.
This involves certain Focuses and Fiestas from the 14 through 16 model years. They have 6-speed automatic transmissions that can lurch into gear or feel like they're slipping.
On Wall Street right now, the Dow is down 729 points, the NASDAQ off 228. This is CBS News.
CBS News Radio is your home for breaking news. With our team of reporters around the country and the world, we give you the coverage you can trust.
The co-chairman of J.P. Morgan warned that a deep correction, like 40%, could hit the stock market at any time. Don't lose 40%. Diversify. Now you can add gold or silver to your IRA or 401k rollover accounts. The stock market has been shaky with the trade negotiations. Don't risk your investments. Listen to the warnings and diversify before you lose 40%. Protect your portfolio with solid, intangible investments, gold and silver. Call 800-918-1958, and all qualified investors get a free 2020 Trump Freedom Coin and a 10-ounce silver bar with your account. Call 800-918-1958 to be connected now and get a free 2020 Trump Freedom Coin and a 10-ounce silver bar when you open a qualified account. Or go to noblegoldinvestments.com. Individual results may vary. Invest wisely. Open your qualified account today to get your free 2020 Trump Freedom Coin and a 10-ounce silver bar. Don't wait for a 40% deep correction. Call 800-918-1958. That's 800-918-1958.
Facebook, the latest to react to privacy concerns. CBS's Diane King Hall.
Facebook reportedly paid hundreds of outside contractors to transcribe audio clips of its users, according to a Bloomberg report. The employees said they listened to users' conversations and didn't know why Facebook needed them transcribed. Facebook told CBS News it, quote, paused human review of audio more than a week ago.
Pay your taxes or lose your passport. The Internal Revenue Service ready to make good on threats to strip U.S. passports from Americans who owe more than $52,000 in back taxes. IRS agents will be working with the State Department to step up enforcement of the FAST Act, which allows for denying passport applications or revoking existing passports over outstanding debt. The taxman actually began enforcing this law last year, but has so far only used it to deny passport applications. Now the IRS is going to start reaching out to those existing passport holders. Jim Shenleby, CBS News.
Did you know that the IRS is getting more aggressive these days? They're using private agencies to track you down and even started taking away passports. Don't wait. If you owe more than $10,000, take advantage of the Fresh Start Initiative, a program in place that can help you now. You can save thousands and possibly have your taxes forgiven. Join the thousands of taxpayers who made the call to get protection from IRS collections. Call the experts at Oxford Tax Partners now about the Fresh Start program. If you qualify, it'll stop the IRS collection agencies from coming after you. Let the IRS negotiation experts at Oxford Tax Partners get you protected once and for all. Call the hotline now at 800-575-1919. That's 800-575-1919. There's help for those of you who owe $10,000 or more, but it's important that you take action before these programs change. Call the tax experts at Oxford Tax Partners for a free consultation now at 800-575-1919. 800-575-1919. That's 800-575-1919.
Look at that freak! Look at him. Seems like a nice guy, and he just exudes macho.
Welcome to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9 AM 990. Online, KWAMTheVoice.com. And we're on the YouTube, Nation of Jake. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let your friends know they should also subscribe to the YouTube channel. Very simple to bring that up in casual conversation. Let's say you're out at your kid's soccer game and they're about to do a corner kick. You can say, oh, who's going to take the corner kick? By the way, if you subscribe to the Nation of Jake on YouTube, very simple to work in casual conversation. Just like that. Bang. See, because I know what a corner kick is. I'm a soccer dad, y'all. Yeah, today I'm kind of nervous. I'm more nervous than my kid is. She's 7, and she's playing competitive soccer now, which has been a lot of work for me and my wife thus far. We're like making phone calls and getting jerseys. We have like big decisions to make, like what number are you going to be, kid? What number are you going to be? And my daughter's like, I don't care. What the hell is the significance of the number? I'm like, what are you talking about? What's the significance of a jersey number? It's everything. Because when I was a kid, I played baseball. So I wanted to be number 3. Because Dale Murphy was number 3, and everybody loved Dale Murphy. Yeah, sure, Babe Ruth was number 3, but Dale Murphy was my guy. So I was like, yeah, number 3. It's got to be number 3, except number 3 jersey was like one of the smallest because it went by size. So I ended up being jersey number 16 because it just kind of fell in at a medium. So I became number 16. And so I was like, okay, Eva, you could be number 11 because your namesake Aunt Eva played soccer and was number 11. I said, or you could be number 16 because that was Dad's number. I was number 16. You know what she said to me? She says, Daddy, I want to be number 11. I'm like, no! Okay, whatever. So she, only because my sister, who was an accomplished soccer player in high school and into college, still plays, she could probably impart way more knowledge and wisdom with regards to soccer to my daughter than can I. That said, my daughter's going to be number 11. The problem is that this is one of these fancy teams that has like practice jerseys. Like, growing up, man, there was no shot. I was not in any kind of like highfalutin sports leagues where we actually had practice jerseys. You know what our practice jerseys were? Like t-shirts. What we wore to school. That was a practice jersey. We had game jerseys, which were t-shirts. They weren't this dry fit stuff. And then we had practice clothes, which were like t-shirts. But my kid's got a practice jersey now, but she doesn't have it yet. Like, it's on order because we're late to the game. So what I guess I'm going to have to do is take a red t-shirt and then fashion number 11 out of masking tape, like I would have done back in the late 80s, early 90s. And she's going to look like a ragamuffin out there among all these competitive soccer girls. And so I'm excited and nervous for her, and it's going to be fun. The problem will be that I can no longer be a go, get it, kick it dad. I can't be a go, kick it dad. Not in front of the other competitive parents, right? I don't know the rules of soccer. So, me just, running around yelling, go, get it, kick it, it's not going to fly. So, I'm probably just going to drop her off at practice and bail and go to Ollie's or something like that. I don't know. Well, we'll see. That's what I've got on the slate for later this afternoon. I don't know about you. I hope you're enjoying it. A little warm, not a heat advisory, no excessive heat warnings. I've got some odds and ends and whatnot. I'm seeing with the 2020 presidential candidates, you're seeing some movement. After Iowa was important for whatever reason. Iowa, which is a red state and will probably go for Trump, that is where you have to go put on a show. early on in the primary caucus process. So all these candidates were in Iowa, going to the Iowa State Fair, and then they were giving speeches and eating food and photo ops and all the. There was one guy who went into Iowa as a front runner, Joe Biden. He's still the front runner, but apparently, at least in one poll, Elizabeth Warren is right there. Joe Biden at 21%, Elizabeth Warren at 20%. Maybe she's kind of overtaken Bernie, and all that socialist support that Bernie had is being thrown behind Elizabeth Warren. And then behind that, Kamala Harris is like at 8%, and then the Betos and the Buttigiegs are at 5%. And Bernie's somewhere in there, like 15. But that said, Joe Biden is still the front runner. One guy who was not in Iowa, was Beto O'Rourke. Yeah, Beto was really affected by the El Paso shooting. And I don't know if he was emotionally affected. I'm sure he was. He's from El Paso. I don't want to take that away from the guy. I think we all felt very sorry for the people of El Paso who were affected by that shooting, the whole community. That said, I also believe Beto O'Rourke saw an opportunity. He seized that opportunity. He stayed in El Paso. He did not go to the Iowa State Fair. He missed out on all the fried food and all the fun. But you have Beto O'Rourke now is delivering a campaign reset speech on Thursday. Former Texas Representative Beto O'Rourke plans to deliver his first major written address on Thursday, offering a reset of his presidential campaign. Reset. He's already reset, I think, twice. And if you and I know anything about resets, if you reset twice, the third time, you can't just reset. All right? Resetting ain't going to do it. You need to take out the cartridge, blow in it, put it back in halfway, push it down, then shove it in the rest of the way, and then hit power. Because a reset's not going to do it. Honestly, Beto O'Rourke, after 3 resets, maybe you need to play a new game. Oh, yeah, hey, I'm going to go play Mario Brothers. You start out on World 1-1, and then you lost a life before you even got to the warp zone. Reset. He's that kid. You got 2 guys taking turns playing a video game. No, reset it. I reset it. No, it's still my turn. I reset it. Now, blow on that cartridge a few times there, Beto. He's going to reset the campaign with a new focus and a fresh strategy for going forward in the wake of a mass shooting in O'Rourke's hometown of El Paso. O'Rourke will recommit to holding President Trump accountable for the state of the country. Okay, so his new strategy is to go after Trump, which I'm not sure how that is different than his old strategy. He's been calling Trump a racist, calling Trump a white supremacist. He is right there on the line of calling anybody who voted for Trump or anybody who supports Trump a racist or white supremacist, which, honestly, that's not a good strategy. Remember when Hillary Clinton called them the basket of deplorables and called them irredeemable? You're doing the same thing. Seriously, you're calling the president a white supremacist and or a racist and anybody who supports them. Maybe he's not calling them white supremacists or racist, but he's saying they support white supremacy, which is the same thing. If you tell me I support white supremacy, you might as well just tell me I'm a white supremacist and then get ready because I'm going to go Chris Cuomo on you. You want to call me a white supremacist? You call me a white supremacist? You don't be a liar. You call me a white supremacist. I'm going to throw you down these stairs. That's worse than being called Fredo. So, yeah, I would take offense to that, and I think a lot of people are. Beto is going to focus heavily on 3 key issues: racism, white supremacy, and guns, and plans to propose what the campaign calls new bold solutions. So your 3 key issues are, 2 of your 3 key issues are going to be racism and white supremacy. And the third issue is guns, which means you're taking on the Second Amendment. And regardless of how many demonstrations there are, how many polls you have, the right to bear arms is still very popular here in the United States, Mr. O'Rourke. And again, listen, nobody Nobody supports outwardly racism. Nobody is in favor of white supremacy. People who are number very small. There are people who are self-described or self-proclaimed or avid racists. It's like they number in the hundreds. All right? And there's nothing the government can do to come in and punish you for the thought crime of racism. All right, we can do things as a society to ostracize racists, disassociate ourselves from white supremacists. But as far as the law, what are you going to do? So 2/3 of your 3 key issues are things you really can't legislate. Really, I mean, what are you going to do? Crack down on the 1,100 white supremacists? What was it? What's the number I want to go to? One of the largest white supremacist groups in the country, numbers like 40 people, and that's one of the largest? Yeah, okay, that seems like it's being outsized as far as the attention it's getting. Yes, we've had some people who have done very bad things, mass shootings, sending bombs to people and stuff, but we also have other unpopular ideologies where people act out and shoot each other. It happens. That said, I don't think this is going to be good for El Beto O'Rourke. See, on the guns thing, if the background checks would have, if you can apply, let's say just retroactively, try to apply all these rules, assault weapons bans or semi-automatic gun bans. Which, by the way, sidebar, you're going to ban all semi-automatic weapons, you're going to take everybody's handguns away. But they don't know what semi-automatic means. People conflate semi-automatic with automatic weapons. It happens all the time. People are like, oh, you can just pull the trigger once and kill 1 million people. And it's like, no, it's not like that. It's Uzis are automatic weapons. Brrrr, automatic weapons. Pow, 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 pow. Semi-automatic weapon. And that's all you need to know. Semi-automatic sounds real tough. That wasn't the semi-automatic perfection. Wasn't that like a phrase that was touted by the NRA? And people do not like it. It's semi-automatic. Oh my God, semi-automatic. Yeah, it's just one trigger pull, one bullet comes out. Just to make it simple. All right, but people say semi-automatic weapons. Nobody needs a semi-automatic weapon. What about your handgun? What about your Glock, your 9mm? That's fine. It's just a handgun. Well, handguns kill way more people than AR-15s. AR-15, the assault rifle, it's an Armalite rifle, but people call it an assault rifle. Assault rifles, so to speak, if you want to use that term, are responsible for 5% of gun homicides, whereas 90% of gun homicides are perpetrated with handguns. But they want an assault weapons ban. Now, if they're fully on in, these 200 Democrats who want to propose a semi-automatic weapons ban, good luck. Good luck. Do you know how many handguns are in the country that account for 90% of homicides? And that's just it. And they want to give you the illusion of safety of, hey, we're going to get rid of these big scary guns. And we're going to get rid of, even though there are millions of them already in circulation, we're going to make it harder for people to get them. Well, I got news for you. People who like those kind of guns probably already got them. And unless you've got an infinity gauntlet and all the stones, and you can snap these guns out of existence, then you've got a problem. Even if you could take your infinity gauntlet with all the stones and snap these guns out of existence, you know what the problem will be? Is that you'll have an infinity gauntlet and nobody will have guns to defend themselves. You see, that power, boom, that's the problem. Is you've got a government powerful enough to go in on raw emotion after a couple of events that happened back to back, very scary stuff, awful, heartbreaking, gut-wrenching things that happened, these mass shootings in El Paso and in Dayton. Your emotions are still raw. And so what you're going to get, these politicians who are going to prey on those emotions in order to what? To take away your freedom and not make you any safer. That's what you're willing to do. Is that what you're willing to do? Or, these bold new solutions or new bold solutions that Beto said, what are they? How will they help? If we go and apply them to all the data we have on mass shootings, would they have prevented any of them from happening? Because, just going through it, most of it is, I say, background checks. Well, a lot of these guys don't have anything in their background that would prohibit them from owning a gun. So how would background checks help? Okay, well, we'll do weapons bans. Well, these guys, they got their weapons illicitly. They got their weapons from an individual. They stole their weapons. Or, hey, this guy actually was prohibited from having a weapon, but his background check got botched by the FBI. And that happened. That happened in Charleston. So, I mean, if you go through and you see, number one, you don't have a good sample size, because still, even as horrific as they are, and they get weeks and weeks of media coverage, the mass shooting is not as prevalent as you would believe by watching the news. I think the Washington Post or New York Times, a publication, what they did was they put together in one place all the victims of all the mass shootings since 1966, and it was in the neighborhood of 1,100 people since 1966. 1,100 people. Now, it's a horrific way to go. It's scary. But they would not have enough ink to print all the people who had been struck by lightning or died from complications due to diabetes or heart disease or car crashes or drunk driving accidents. I mean, there are so many other things out there that are more of a danger to you, but this is scary. You can explain away a lot of this other stuff. You can rationalize in your mind, somebody who didn't take care of themselves and then passed away because they were morbidly obese and had heart failure. You can say, oh, that's just kind of the way life is. But if somebody goes and goes nutty in the brain and shoots up a school, oh my God, how could this happen? We should have stopped it. You really going to stop it? I mean, how can we stop it? That's a good question. Unless you got that infinity gauntlet, and that's the best. Snap them out of existence. And when you get that thing, let me know. I'd like to use it for some stuff. I'd like to snap some things out of existence. The band 311. I mean, not the whole band, just all the stuff they did after that Blue album. Coming up, we've got an update, some more details on the Epstein suicide. Was it a suicide, or was it good old-fashioned government incompetence? We'll talk about that next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
When's the last time you looked at the windows in your house? Not through the windows, but at the windows. Really looked at them. There's dirt, streaks, buildup, smudges, fingerprints, paw prints, spider webs, dead bugs. There's little white speckles. I have no idea what they are, and who knows what else. Now, cleaning all the windows in your house makes a big difference, but it's also a big job. That's why you need Just Windows Home Services. Just Windows has been taking the pain out of window cleaning since 1992. Just Windows cleans all types of windows, storm windows, screens, skylights, interior, exterior, upstairs and down. Now, I know I told you the company is called Just Windows Home Services, but they do a lot more. Roof and gutter cleaning, pressure washing, mirrors, blinds, ceiling fans, light fixtures, chandeliers. Look, if you've got hard to reach areas of the house, then you need Just Windows Home Services. Call for a free estimate, 751-3934. That's 751-3934, or get them online at justwindowsmemphis.com. That's justwindowsmemphis.com.
Tune in Tuesday mornings at 7:35 for Let's Talk Growth with Triumph. You have a lot of choices when it comes to banks, so we'd like to share how Triumph's local focus can make banking easy for you. Do you have a bank that serves as a financial quarterback for both you and your business? Are you saving for a major purchase or buying a home? On our show, you'll hear from Triumph's experienced bankers and learn how we can help you triumph. Triumph Bank is a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender. Let's Talk Growth with Triumph, Tuesdays at 7:35.
You and your friends and associates are invited to attend the Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair, Thursday, September 19th from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Brown Missionary Baptist Church, located at 7200 Swinia Road in South Haven, Mississippi. There will be health exams, flu shots, entertainment, and this year, there'll be food trucks on site to allow you to enjoy lunch while you're there, and a demonstration on healthy living by the Silver Sneakers. The Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair is promoted by the DeSoto Times and the Best Times. Mark your calendar for September 19th. You'll be glad you did.
If you're in need of a professional cleaning service that takes your business as seriously as you do, call Jan Pro Cleaning Systems today. They understand how important it is to establish and maintain a professional image. That's why they offer the Jan Pro Signature Clean and the Jan Pro Guarantee. From regular scheduled cleaning to the tough stuff like stripping and waxing, buffing, carpet extractions, and detail cleaning, Jan Pro does it all. Call today for a free, no-obligation quote. 901-683-4900. Insured and bonded for your protection. Jan Pro Cleaning Systems. Measurable cleaning, guaranteed results.
Yes, have some.
It's the Nation of Jake. We got more on Epstein. Just letting you know. The Epstein suicide on Saturday morning. The bombshell. That was a true bombshell. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein had just been taken off suicide watch, apparently. A week and a half before he had tried to commit suicide or was found in his cell after a alleged suicide attempt. There's more details on his death. Was it foul play? Was it suicide? Was it government incompetence? There's good questions, all of them. Says here, 2 prison guards in charge of monitoring convicted pedophile and alleged sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein on the morning he committed suicide reportedly fell asleep. That's right, they fell asleep. They didn't check on him for hours. Then they falsified prison records to hide their actions. Yeah, the sleeping prison guard. Such a trope. There you have a sleeping prison guard out at a desk right there just beyond the cells. He's got his feet up on a desk. He's got his hat down over his eyes. He's snoring. And so you've got Jeffrey Epstein in one cell and then a guy in the next cell. Let's call him Vince. Vince is over there with some sort of makeshift grappling hook that he's fashioned out of some yarn or twine that he got from, I don't know, some other guy in exchange for cigarettes. And he's fashioned a grappling hook, and he's trying to lasso or hook the giant key ring around the belt of the sleeping guard. And then, meanwhile, Jeffrey Epstein notices that the guard's asleep. That's when he decides to fashion some sort of noose from a bedsheet and then kill himself. Because we can try to explain this away all day long. And I talk about Occam's razor, which is the philosophy that the simplest explanation is usually the best explanation. So Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide, or maybe the simplest explanation is the Clintons did it, or maybe it was that the federal agents, the guards, are incompetent. How about that? These new developments in the investigation into Epstein's suicide come after the Justice Department announced on Tuesday that the 2 guards have been placed on administrative leave and the warden of the prison was being temporarily reassigned. 2 correctional officers in the special housing unit, the SHU, where Mr. Epstein was held, falsely recorded in a log that they had checked on the financier who was facing sex trafficking charges every 30 minutes as was required. That's according to the New York Times. So it's kind of like, I don't know, you work at Wendy's and you're in charge of cleaning the bathroom every hour. And you have to sign off the sheet that you mopped or you cleaned or you checked on it, but you forgot, you fell asleep. And so you went back in there and retroactively said, oh yeah, I checked the bathroom. Except in this case, it wasn't a dirty bathroom. It was a guy who had committed suicide that you didn't check on. And so you try to cover your tracks. So that's not a good development. It's not good for the guards. It's not good for the warden who's been reassigned. It's not good for really anybody in this because Jeffrey Epstein had a lot of information on a lot of people. Hell, the documents implicated some powerful attorneys and politicians and billionaires and royalty. And that's just like kind of tip of the iceberg stuff because this guy was at it for a long time. He had ties both to Donald Trump and to Bill Clinton. All right, and now this is just out, and this is kind of sick. And it's talking about the old Epstein stuff. This is from the Daily Mail, and I'm told it's exclusive. All right. Did Jeffrey Epstein have a painting of Bill Clinton wearing a blue dress and red heels and lounging in the Oval Office inside his Manhattan mansion? A visitor reveals the bizarre image inside the pedophile's $56 million lair. That's a big headline. That's a lot to unpack. Jeffrey Epstein had a painting which appeared to be Bill Clinton wearing a blue dress and red heels inside his Manhattan home. That would be Jeffrey Epstein's Manhattan home. Jeffrey Epstein had a painting of Bill Clinton in his home. In that painting, Bill Clinton was wearing a blue dress that was a pointed reference to the Monica Lewinsky scandal. Lewinsky, who famously wore the blue dress during their tryst in the White House. Blue dress with the stain on it. Yeah. The painting was snapped inside the pedophile's mansion back in 2012, some 7 years before all these allegations of running a sex trafficking ring of underage girls. The source who snapped the photo of this lurid painting asked to remain anonymous. She was visiting Epstein to present a business proposal. She told the Daily Mail it was absolutely Bill Clinton. It was shocking. It was very provocative. A sexual picture. Ew. Epstein and Clinton were friends, with the 72-year-old flying on the now-deceased financier's private plane, including the Lolita Express, several times, of course. Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein were associates, known associates. Some accounts have Bill Clinton having ridden on the Lolita Express some 26 times. And so now we've got this shocking painting of Bill Clinton in a Monica Lewinsky-style blue dress wearing high heels. And the painting is of Bill Clinton in the Oval Office. So I'm wondering if Bill Clinton actually posed for this painting. That would be bombshell, right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Epstein. Yeah, you got a painter? Yeah, you got some people painting. I'll put on a blue dress. That's my high heels. I'll sit in a chair, and you can put me in the Oval Office. It'll be funny, man. It'll be funny. It'll be great. Who's going to see it? Nobody. Then the source also claims she saw a young Hispanic girl waiting to meet Epstein after her business meeting, saying the girl looked to be about 14 years old. So all the stuff that's coming out, I know that the FBI, they raided Jeffrey Epstein's joint there on Pedophile Island, which, God, gross. This whole thing is awful. That there's an island that was known as Pedophile Island in the whole Lolita Express, and now we've got this painting. And I'm looking at photos of it, and it is odd. It's like Bill Clinton just sitting there with an ill-fitting blue dress, and it's unmistakable. Bill Clinton. I mean, to his credit, whoever painted it did a great job. I mean, this is a fuzzy photo of it, and you can still make out everything. It's Bill Clinton's giant tubby ass in a blue dress, pointing like, "Hey, that's right, I got you," and red high heels, and you can see the presidential seal on the floor, as if it was taken in the Oval Office. It's kind of like thumbing the nose at the whole investigation. So I think there's a lot more to come out, because a guy like Jeffrey Epstein, knowing that he was doing stuff that was highly immoral and illegal, there's no way he did not keep files and records and has dirt on many, many people. And that's probably what got him killed. I mean, I'm not the conspiracy type. It probably was like the sleeping guards not checking on him. I mean, I'm sure that was part of it. Maybe the guard was sleeping because they got roofied. Maybe Bill Clinton. I mean, I'm almost certain he's dealt in roofies before, or knows people who do. Maybe he roofied the guards, had them fall asleep, and then he whispered into Jeffrey Epstein's cell, "Do it. Maybe he played some Judas Priest records backwards for Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, there's a lot of ways this could have gone down. I wouldn't go so far as to say there were tranquilizer darts involved, but drugging the guards, having Epstein listen to some Ozzy Osbourne records backwards, that could have done it. That's the way I would have done it if I had done it, O.J. Simpson style. All right, coming up, we've got all the latest news here locally. We got power outages everywhere. We got schools closed due to the power outages and the heat. We'll get caught up on all the headlines in the news crews, and we'll do that next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
CBS News Update. It's been a rough ride on Wall Street again today with stocks on a steep slide.
Something happened in the bond market where the yield on the 2-year Treasury actually became higher than the yield on the 10-year Treasury. So if you're going to buy 2-year Treasury bonds, you actually will get paid more than you will if you go out and buy a 10-year Treasury bond.
Michael Farr Miller in Washington. It's what's called an inverted bond yield. First time since 2007 and a possible indicator of an impending recession. Economist Eugene Peroni.
The trade war between the U.S. and China is certainly significant. It is having a global reach, and I think that's what we're seeing with respect to Europe, other parts of Asia, and so on. I think that is a real concern that this could lead to some slowing, and again, very much because there is that uncertainty as to when a resolution might come about with respect to these trade wars.
Right now, the Dow is down 781 points. That's better than 3%. CBS News Update, I'm Jim Shemovy.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Dan Groban and Phil Menard at Servant Advisors Group call this mailbox money. It's the monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They want to help remove stress from your retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Servant Advisors Group at 855-260-1000 for a complimentary retirement analysis with strategies that could help your nest egg provide you monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call right now, 855-260-1000. Servant Wealth Management is a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Servant Advisors Group, LLC. Insurance licensed in Tennessee, Mississippi, and in Arkansas.
The special event florist for the Mid-South is Lynn Doyle Flowers. They are famous for creating incredible floral arrangements and are available to fill even your last-minute needs. From the simple to the magnificent, their staff can create unique arrangements for your special occasion. Flowers always bring a smile, make someone's day, and for fast, convenient delivery, call Lynn Doyle Flowers today at 901-323-4521 or visit their beautiful new location at 6225 Old Poplar Pike.
This is Clark Howard. The other day, there was an airfare sale that had Paris at $262 round trip and had Amsterdam at $248 round trip. Both deals from New York. And this is a clear pattern over and over again. You're going to find when you want to fly internationally over the Atlantic Ocean, by far the best deals are going to be from New York. When you want to go across the Pacific Ocean, anywhere in Asia or the South Pacific, same rule applies from Los Angeles. And this is something I've said for years, but now I can prove that it's true because of research done by Scotch Cheap Flights that found that New York and Los Angeles are by far the cheapest places to fly international from. So what does that do for you if you don't live anywhere near either? Well, you can buy a cheap domestic ticket to get to one of them and then go over the water from New York or L.A.
Have you heard what President Trump said recently?
Newsmax, you like Newsmax. I like it too.
Now you can watch Newsmax TV and get the truth about Trump from Bill O'Reilly, Mike Reagan, Alan Dershowitz, Pat Buchanan, and more. Newsmax TV is America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in 70 million homes. Find Newsmax on DirecTV, Dish, Xfinity, Spectrum, Optimum, Fios, Uverse, and more systems. See Newsmax TV today. It's real news for real people.
I'm pretty handy around the house, but now that I have kids, I don't want to spend my Saturday installing a toilet or fixing an air conditioner. But thankfully, there's HomeAdvisor. HomeAdvisor helps me find the best home pros in my area to handle any kind of project. You can read reviews of the pros, check their availability, and even book appointments online. And what my wife loves most is that HomeAdvisor is completely free to use.
Go to HomeAdvisor.com or download the free app to get started.
HomeAdvisor.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, have some.
Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9 AM 990 online, KWAMTheVoice.com. I speak too fast for that to make any sense to anybody. So just go to YouTube, Nation of Jake, follow along there. right, so what do we do here? Oh, yeah, the news cruise. Yeah, we get caught up on all the headlines in a leisurely way. We like to do so on this boat. Some might call it a yacht. I call it a boat because I'm humble. It's one of my best characteristics. News. Exciting and new. Come aboard. We're expecting you. The news cruise. Full of exciting news. The news cruise. So relax and kick off your shoes. Welcome aboard this, the news cruise. It's brought to you by our friends at Just Windows Home Services. They can clean windows. It's what they do best and what they do most. But did you know Just Windows Home Services does a lot more than just windows? Yeah, you wouldn't think so by their name. But they do pressure washing. So if you got a patio, pool deck, walkway, actual deck, whatever it is, they can pressure wash it. Hell, your house. You can pressure wash your house. Pressure wash your pets. I doubt that is something they would do, but you could ask. Also, cleaning out your gutters. You don't want to get up on your roof. It's hot. Roofs are hot, man. And they're high. And you don't want any part of getting up there. The guys at Just Windows Home Services, they want every part of getting up there. Cleaning out your gutters, cleaning off your roof. A storm coming through last night, you get a bunch of branches and debris all over your roof. And that's where ants and bugs and mosquitoes like to get busy. And so you need to keep it clean. And they can do that. Just Windows Home Services, you can call them 751-3934. That's 751-3934. You can also visit them online at justwindowsmemphis.com. They'll give you a free estimate, and then they'll also give you 20% off if you mention Nation of Jake. 751-3934. Speaking of those storms last night, 17,000 customers were without power after the storms rolled through, and those storms rolled through in a hurry. There was the thunder and the lightning and the thunder. MLGW posted an outage map to its Twitter account about 10 p.m. last night. 231 outages affecting 17,171 customers this morning. That number was about 4,500 without power, and that included 6 Shelby County schools. They all had to dismiss early due to the power outages. Now, when you got a power outage on August 14th, when we're on the heels of these excessive heat warnings, it's not a learning environment. So 6 schools, Haven View Middle, Westwood High School, Oak Haven High School, Oak Haven Middle School, dismissed at 10:30 a.m., then Oak Haven Elementary and G.W. Carter High School dismissed at 11. They had normal dismissal procedures, but then you had a lot of parents going, what the hell am I supposed to do with these kids? So I guess they were all hanging out at the house. Hopefully their houses had power. Because, man, being at home in a hot-ass house with, if it was anything like when I grew up, nothing good in the fridge, no power, no cable TV, you had to go play outside. We've got a study that reveals Tennessee, the great state of Tennessee, the volunteer state, some would call it, has the 18th highest number of robocalls in the country. Oh, that's gross. It's top half. If you've answered your phone to be told you want a free cruise, are the victim of Social Security fraud, or that there are outstanding warrants in your name, you're probably a victim of scams. Here's what's weird. I've been getting calls that say that my brother has outstanding warrants in his name. And here's the thing, the calls, my wife gets them, my sister gets them, all these people are calling saying that your brother, now they don't know he's my brother, they say his name, and they say, he must call us about this, da-da-da, lawyers, da-da-da, and I'm like, what are you talking about? So I told my brother, and he got it cleared up, he got off the list. But then you've got, let's see, 514 complaints filed in Tennessee about robocalls, according to Social Catfish. Robocalls are usually pre-recorded You do not need to be told what robocalls are. Look, man, at this point, if you don't recognize the area code, the call's probably not for you. If I ever get a call I don't know, I usually don't answer the phone. If it's from an area code I don't know, I sure as hell don't answer the phone. If it looks like my number, if it's anywhere close, like the prefix of my number, I don't answer the phone. I don't answer the phone unless I know the number, if you're already in it. If you call me from a number that I don't recognize, I'm not answering the phone. So I just hit decline. Boom. I never answer those calls. Oh, we've got some happenings with the city of Memphis. The city of Memphis has entered a $3.3 million contract with Speed Camera Company. This is great. You hear Earl's real happy about this. Mayor Jim Strickland signed a contract in December of 2018 with a company called Conduit State and Local Solutions Incorporated for a 5-year deal for installation and maintenance of speed enforcement cameras. Nobody likes speed enforcement cameras.
They don't hold up in court.
They don't hold up in court. You get a speed enforcement citation. It doesn't go towards your points on your driver's license or insurance. So you're getting ticketed for $50. You're not supposed to pay those, are you? I don't think you're supposed to. I think that there have been politicians who instruct you to burn them. Just, burn them, roll up some dope and smoke a joint with them. Do anything but pay them because they're non-enforceable. It's just to scare you. And these speed enforcement cameras are just a revenue generator. Pretty much like if you are a sucker and you send in your $50, that they're just making money. So I wonder what kind of profit and loss projections they've got. Like this company comes in and says, hey, you spend $3.3 million with us, you're going to raise $10 million in revenues. That's not what we need them for. We want cameras to keep us safe and to surveil, say, areas that get hit by burglars and stuff like that, but speed cameras. Maybe it's a clever way of getting more surveillance. It's saying that they're speed cameras that can be accessed for other reasons, security reasons. I'm not down with that. Hey, Electrolux, which, by the way, would be a cool name for a band if it wasn't a company that made ovens. Electrolux will stay in Memphis longer than expected. The Swedish appliance manufacturer, Electrolux, they're going to stay an extra year and will likely close its Memphis plant in 2021, not 2020. I'd say go pound sand, man. I'd say no. Get out now. You can't just decide, hey, you tell them you're going to get out, you're moving out, you're breaking your lease. Nah, we might stay. It's like, come on, quit jerking us around. Stay or don't, Electrolux, you dirty Swedes. The next is going to be IKEA. Watch, man. I'm telling you, you can't trust these Swedish people. Swedish chefs, farley, bort, bort, bort. Can't trust him. You can't trust the Swedish people who tried to beat up A$AP Rocky. That's right, A$AP Rocky. He got, attacked by a bunch of weirdos in Sweden, and then they tried to charge him with assault, and he was convicted. He's guilty of assault. A$AP Rocky, who I think one time he sampled a Lucero song, so that's his tie to the Mid-South. A$AP Rocky has been found guilty in Sweden in that assault trial, but he won't go to jail. Duh, he's already back in the United States. They got him out. He's not going back to Sweden. And he didn't get charged with jail time. He's also got a suspended sentence. So there's that. Also in court today, the escaped inmate Curtis Watson is in court today in Lauderdale County after the 5-day manhunt. He'll be arraigned on multiple charges, including first-degree murder. He's accused of sexually assaulting and murdering prison administrator Deborah Johnson before taking off on a tractor and leading the TB on a 5-day manhunt. They are considering the death penalty as a possible sentence, and I'd say, yeah, if anybody was a good candidate for the death penalty, it would be Curtis Ray Watson. He is aggravatedly assaulted people, especially, and then also he's murdered and sexually assaulted a state official. He can get the death penalty and then go straight to hell, as far as I'm concerned. We've got no more time on the cruise. We've got to get the boat back to port. Hopefully not in Hong Kong where there's all that unrest going on. Good luck to those nice protesters, good freedom-loving people in Hong Kong. We're going to wrap things up, get you set up for the Earl Farrell program, and I've got one more story for you, a story that you do not want to miss. And we'll do that next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
For baby boomers, here's something to think about. Will you have enough income during your retirement? Are you absolutely sure? Do you understand the difference between growth and income? How about bonds and bond funds? Are you 100% ready for RMDs? Do you have an estate plan? If you've said no to any of these, we can help. Right now, log on to theretirementincomeDoctor.com and tune in our brand new radio show right here, Saturday mornings at 10 a.m.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, stop. Don't do anything until you talk to my man, James Underwood. James Underwood has been helping people like you navigate the Mid-South real estate market for more than a decade. So whether you're looking to buy your first home or you want to upgrade to your forever home, James Underwood can help make it happen. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just a rock-solid guy that I've known for 25 years. So now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up James Underwood with CryLike. JamesUnderwood.crylike.com. That's JamesUnderwood.crylike.com.
For expert service guaranteed, call 866-EXPERTS.
That's the number that could save you up to 30% on your energy bills. Call today and Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning will hook you up with an AC tune-up. Right now, save $20 on an AC tune-up. Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning, your hometown Memphis tune-up pros.
Call 866-EXPERTS.
See website for license details.
Did you know that your potential customers look at your website and determine your credibility within 8 seconds? Make sure your business reflects the quality service you provide. Contact Control-Alt Design for a free quote today. Today's marketplace is very competitive and you need a professional web presence. Control-Alt Design offers web design at a fraction of what the larger firms charge. Control-Alt Design has been helping local businesses stand out on the web for over 20 years. They also offer logo design, business card design, flyers, brochures, and more. See their work today at ControlAltDesign.com.
The Earl Farrell program is coming up.
Yes, have some.
Earl is in the house trying to get the printer to work. Good luck, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Man, I wrestle with that printer every day here in the Nation of Jake, so your troubles are now my troubles, or mine are now yours. Check that, reverse it. All right, a few minutes left here in the program. Man, this story about Jeffrey Epstein's painting. Earl, did you see the painting? Have you seen it yet?
I've heard about it. I have not seen it.
And this painting that they found on Orgy Island or Pedophile. No, I think this was his Manhattan home. I think this is his Manhattan mansion. They went in. Not only does Jeffrey Epstein have a mural of himself in a prison yard as a reminder that he could always go back at some point. He did 13 months for prostitution, the whole Alexander Acosta deal that was made. He also had a painting of Bill Clinton dressed in a Monica Lewinsky-type blue dress, wearing red high heels. Very provocative painting. So you have to ask, is this more evidence that possibly the Clintons had something to do with Jeffrey Epstein's suicide? Was Bill Clinton afraid that they would find the painting? Or he knew they would find the painting and that Jeffrey Epstein had to pay. So that's what I've listened. That's new information. Here you heard it first in the Nation of Jake. I will retweet the painting so you can go see it. So you need to go follow Nation of Jake on Twitter to see that. You know, going through all these stories, my God, this story is about Mike Tyson, also known as Iron Mike. Mike Tyson, one of the most prolific heavyweight fighters of our time. Before he started going wacky. After he lost to James Buster Douglas, things didn't go so well for Mike Tyson. He also famously bit off the ear of Evander Holyfield, the real deal Holyfield, the whole ear-biting incident. I think that we may have some answers as to why Mike Tyson acts that way. Mike Tyson says he burns through $40,000 of marijuana at his ranch every month. He smokes $40,000 worth of the devil's lettuce every month on his ranch. I don't know if his ranch is a place where he grows it or if he's just buying that much marijuana. I think he's gotten into the business. On Monday's episode of his podcast, that's also news, Mike Tyson has a podcast, Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson. The former heavyweight champion shared just how much he spends on the psychoactive drug. What do we smoke a month, he asked his co-host, former NFL player turned marijuana advocate Eben Britton. Is it $40,000 a month? Britton says, we smoke 10 tons of weed at the ranch a month. He's got a 40-acre marijuana farm and resort. So yeah, he's gotten into the business. Is that crazy? Tyson asks. Though he seemed to already knew the answer, his guest, rapper Jim Jones, widened his eyes. He says, that's a lot of weed. That's nonstop, every second weed right there. So Tyson's latest career pivot might be his most lucrative. He's gone into the recreational marijuana business out in California. His Tyson Ranch, not to be confused with the guys who make all the chicken nuggets, Tyson Foods. Tyson Ranch sells 9 strains of cannabis flower, potent extracts, and soon marijuana edibles. So Mike Tyson, a guy who went to jail for rape, a guy who beat people senseless, Mike Tyson used to beat up construction workers on the way to school or on the way to train with Teddy Atlas and those guys. Cuz D'Amata, right? He used to beat up construction workers and take their lunches. Like it got to the point where the construction workers would bring extra lunches for Mike because they knew Mike was going to beat them up. We're talking about like 15-year-old Mike Tyson. I read a book by Teddy Atlas about Mike Tyson, and that was a story. Mike Tyson used to beat up construction workers and steal their lunches, to the fact they were like so scared of him that they used to bring Mike lunches. They're like, bring a lunch for the kid who's going to beat us up and take ours. That's pretty amazing. He went from beating up construction workers and taking their lunches to smoking $40,000 worth of weed at his ranch every month. So you figure he's got to make a lot more than that. I mean, if he's just like smoking $40,000, the thing about it is maybe he was high on the marijuana when he bit off Evander Holyfield's ear because he had the munchies. Maybe that was it. Maybe he will actually eat Lennox Lewis's children because he smoked so much weed that he'll be hungry enough to do it. So that's your one drug story for the day, and I've got a couple more minutes for this one. Earl, are you a cat guy, a dog guy? You got to be a dog guy.
Dog.
Have you ever had a cat?
One time.
Okay, what happened to your cat?
The person that actually got the cat and brought it to my house, and sometime during the night, the cat deposited a rather large amount of
turd
worms in my carpeting.
Oh, that's awful.
Oh,
yeah, I know. Our cat pukes all the time.
Yeah.
Our cat, oh my God, what did I just say? My roommate's cat, not mine.